Hmm. I won't need that right away, but that works. Yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks. Anyways, yeah, we're live now, and the lights off for not many different reasons. We're just gonna stream. Not even to force anything else out of my mouth right now. 27 minutes tops or bottoms, no more, no less. 27 minutes. We're gonna make this last. Even if I'm gonna include an AMA for the last part, which could be 5 to 20 minutes, again strictly, we could, but for the sake of this stream, we are going, and there are going to be a number of streams included in a row like this, and multiple saga sets. So that's the thing. Input. The mic should work. The webcam should work. Obviously, I put this on the other side of my computer, since the head for the desktop video, which on the other side of my computer now on the monitor. But this topic for 27 minutes straight up is going to be about why I ghosted my family and friends for the both longest and shortest months of my life, and so we're down the first minute already. Damn. Okay. If there are any interruptions to this whole stream in real time on the CST for me, Central State Time, I'll have to either mute or blind the mic and webcam, and you may even end the stream early for some reason. It's like a not too desperate for whatever family reasons that I'll be including, or even my own reasons. Not gonna have to blame anyone. Should never have to blame anyone, but that's actually why I'm holding back some other things tonight at the same time. Maybe even if you know, but yeah. You can still see me because the light on my monitor is 24 towards me. So it's like, it helps to allow straight widescreen. But yeah. So again, if the mic works, I can get a little closer, but it'd be different. You can even hold it every once in a while. I'll try that right now, actually. I'll just hold the mic. Hope I don't mess with it too much. Yeah. Hopefully I can reach the mute and webcam buttons toggles. That's what these are. I think that's the mute. And then the other one would have just been like, well, actually, I don't think I can do this for the webcam, but the mute button is very useful, isn't it? Share screen, not so much. Share screen does just off this thing. It's okay. At least y'all have the bullet hitting you guys. But without disclosing too hard on the groups I associate with, or even the things I do in my own life that are still different from those groups, and then I guess I am someone who simply just think I should know the time for this in the life. I am someone who just generally loves to try new things and spread himself thin, Johnny Appleseed style. And I do this even with teen friends who should have maybe already been in my life, family included. How that goes about, how I just generally don't care if I am wasting my time with this because I still know what I'm doing, and even then I could learn more and how to improve. And I don't have a headset for how it works. Checks out. But let's take out the ear glasses for a second. The break itself for 2 months that I did, I don't know if I ever mentioned this. The break itself for 2 months was done because I immediately had not a download really. The day I decided to ghost was like maybe like December 3rd, December 8th. I was like, because by the November of 2023, some people didn't even see me since December. So there's like they didn't even some of my other friends and family didn't even remember that I was even dishing them a little bit, unfortunately, since before. So it was even deeper than that. But the thing with November, December, or before November, after and right before February of 2024, we get into this thing where I noticed the pattern of listening to Rich Lop's advice being with some of my other friends, particularly with Discord or even with Twitter, some other things. Not really using TikTok or Snapchat, not really using like a lot of these other things I would have done with my life. Twitch, Instagram, even with the Discord and Instagram stuff in the recent, like gosh. But having been avoiding some other things both in real life on the internet, just all of a sudden you spark this up like December 3rd, December 8th, randomly deciding, long story short, that if I am going to want something to budge, I should act right now. And it's not that it has to happen that way. It's more like I just should try to go on that one more adventure. And it's not the only last adventure I can go on. No matter how claustrophobic I may feel on an objective reality level, wherever that would mean for me. I just wanted to give it a chance. And so, be specific, when some of my friends were still reaching out to me, inconvenience on that was still convenient enough. I ghosted them anyways because I knew that it would be better to try to just jump for the gun. And it's like, not in a bad way, not that kind. I'm not gonna be literal about that just yet. I'm not. I'm like 5 years older than I need to be for Arsenal, but whatever. Uh, almost 6 now. But yeah. So I decided to ghost. This is kind of arranged in. I'm gonna try to explain this a little sooner, but for a time length, in a sort of 1 week by 5 week by 2 weeks kind of thing. And some of that is gonna not be disclosed as easily until the layer streams, if you know what I mean. But like what came about, so like for 1 week, the goal was to avoid my computer desktop thing. This literal thing right here. Avoid my desktop gaming PC for a whole week so that I wouldn't be too attached to either gaming or things that attach my desktop. I don't have to only use Twitter and Discord, etc. on my desktop, but I'll even not necessarily use Twitter or Discord on my phone if it helps to know that I'm not going to use them in the first place on desktop. Some things aren't as convenient on desktop, not even, especially some apps like TikTok and Instagram. You can't even use as easy on desktop. Before they even made, you couldn't use in the first place, but now it's just a little more lenient for less lenient reason in itself. But it comes down to what for week 1 of 9 or plus weeks, I'm going to avoid my desktop computer at the very least, even if it's not the only way I use Discord and Twitter and other ones. It's like this doesn't mean so much a dopamine detox or like whatever else, and it worked. I went a whole week without ever touching the desktop, and I was like, oh, well, it's just stacking on the chairs and the around the room and on my desk, and oh my gosh, can I be any more of a pack rat? Can I not like have a dirty room to just tease Jordan Peterson, even though I believe some of his lives anyways, as you probably seen on YouTube Shorts. But week 1 already went down, and I was like, okay, so now I've not only avoided my desktop, I've avoided some of my friends who've already been reaching out to me in the meantime until that very moment I decided to ghost. It's like, okay, didn't explain that for that. That was like, there you go. And then we go on to weeks 2 to 6, the 5 weeks. This is a big one, not the biggest part of it, but that's why because 2 weeks went different. Because one is reckonable in itself. These freaking streams in the saga series are gonna be a little different each part of the sets. I mean by sets is that multiple sagas, but then so we have 5 weeks, and this was when I grinded at my grandparents' house with my other siblings in the family, where I'm like, okay, I don't need to worry about anything else I should be doing. I'll just do me, as cliche as that sounds. I'll just be on my own behavior and just grind being myself for as long as it takes. I know it looks like a lot of what I do is stupid or even pathetic, but I'm not saying that to myself. Best believe. I'm not saying that shit to myself. Even if I say it now, I don't actually mean that. Like the only thing I don't mean is the things I actually don't have to mean. Arrogant, high horse. We all learn lessons. We all learn past, but like, but you know, I know I try to have good intentions for even not necessarily objective things, but so I grind for little over a month in the same spot, Christmas, New Year's, and just genuinely being tranquil and calm in my own way, and including some of the many videos you have actually may have seen since the last era, where it was like I made a bunch of videos. There were times I did this on my phone for Human Game Console podcast and some other videos I edited between Splice and Polar, and I did a lot of editing on my phone alone. And then I just did this other area where I just released videos regardless. Still had different series and project creativity stuff done, like I just where I met, you know. But then it worked like that. I'm gonna put this mic back on the desk real quick. And it worked like that, like a charm. I actually managed to make more videos, not only through my mindfulness practice, even putting that lightly, but because I actually knew what I was doing. I sincerely took that for granted, but for good cause. And it's like being that meditative with myself and then just relaxing best as possible while still within before not even the first week of the next week. I started seeing things pull in. I was like, yeah, I know I could go back to this other lifestyle of mine. Not so much down bad, but like actually I'll put the class back on too. Not so much down bad, but it would actually that it would actually make sense that way. And I was just gonna come back to some of that only if I knew it was indefinite. And dare say it, I knew it was indefinite. I could even know if it was forever, but I wouldn't have to catch it anyways. Obviously, it wasn't now, but so 5 weeks in, and I can make that sound short. But basically, between the first week and the next 5 weeks, I started to realize that it was good for me even if I didn't change. Lo and behold, in the long run, I did change. Very so slightly, but still so much, right? Quantum leaps of evolution and growth. Like I can even describe that without my own words, and it'll still sound like me. But I'm not gonna steal anyway. It's not like a writer. I did change. Simply put, I did change as a person, literally by that point, and it was like a. It came very. It came to me in a way where I knew that I can't last every other possible morning. I couldn't literally, not necessarily, of just drinking instant coffee in the morning and then like going to my pine book on in the dining table over midnight and then be like, wait, what kind of lifestyle is this? Am I down bad, or am I down somewhere else? Good. So all our own past, dude, all of it. But and it's all good. But then you get to this one part where I said I learned a lesson related to Owen Cook, and it's not because Owen Cook in particular taught to me. Not really, not denying that too much, but there's a part to that that's important. I learned a lesson in spite of Owen Cook, where I used him as an anti-mentor figure, and he probably deleted and listened to the video now. But like 2 days after he made a certain video, I started getting my ego, not the ego death, because ego death is a little different for whatever it means. Because ego death can mean different things for whatever it applies to it or not, relevant or even useful or not, in different perspectives compared to even starseed philosophy. And I call that starseed philosophy all of a sudden instinctually. How did I get that right away? Between starseeds and ego death, whether they're ledger or not. That's my point. But getting indeed my own ego, not with the divine, of oh, so if I make Owen's advice work for me, will I still be able to be a better person? And the question to that being, well, I can still be happy and still do this justice for being an object of reality, or at least being a better person in a different way, which I weaponized in an awkward way anyways. I managed to make it look like I knew what I was doing, and I still threw my pencils out the window. That's why I said in that one of the video, where I accidentally kind of doxed some of my friends there. And I even said that I would never have disclosed my private friends if I knew that I didn't learn the lesson. That was a bit of a lame excuse anyways. I already know that now, but it's like, but had to be done. Really did. I was that serious. I was like, it seems so simple and puny that it would be a lesson itself if it was in my head, but it was so important to me. If you can understand that. I hope you could. Very brief video, but focus on the DSLR from my phone. Yeah, there you go. It's like different. But and so that lesson taught me two different things. The whole experience in particular taught me to just take care of myself. But that particular day, right before one or 2 days before I went back home, was to understand that right and wrong and even principles in our journeys are important to evaluate. You can actually do right and wrong for even your own standards, still making it right otherwise. And that's not to say you'll never learn how to do it, even if you're trying your damnedest. But that's what I learned. I know that doesn't make sense coming out of my own mouth right now for some people, but that can be its own thing. But that's what I learned using Owen Cook as an anti-mentor example. Owen Cook does not have to be anyone's anti-mentor. No one has to be your anti-mentor. But the idea between even actual mentors and anti-mentors is that you get to choose who you listen to, who you don't, how much of something else you listen to someone else in, how much of what they say you believe, how much you throw out the window. You don't have to listen to everything they say or nothing they say. It just depends on how you evaluate that. Not so much from the experience of growing up, but like I wouldn't have to say that even now from what I've seen this life in the last few weeks, to say at least. But how you learn every day, dude. Um, but that is my evaluation of the second set of three, which was 5 weeks, and then we get into 2 weeks of three of three. That is going to make up the gamut of the next stream, and it's not that it's private. It's not even sensitive. It's like it's just something that I cannot disclose until I absolutely know I'm ready to start evaluating it further. And I'm sure it wouldn't be too soon or too late, but it'd be doing the service to even this stream. It'd be like talking about something that important because even stream 3 of 3 is gonna be a little out there, and 4 of 4, and it's like a not 2 of 2 1 of 1. That's literally 3 or 4. But so for the record of, I'm just gonna say 2 weeks 3 of 3 is when I started to understand a bit more about what would be applied towards 2024 if I was just simply the person I meant to be and still could change, and then what would follow unexpectedly, unbeknownst to the efforts I put in my life, being too hard on myself, getting things I may have even been blemishing to say, oh, I don't deserve this. Like, I really don't deserve this much blessing. I was like, no, shut up, Tony. Really, like, just stop being so damn hard on yourself. It's like, even to this day, I still am. I don't, not whether wearingly or not, but we got about a little more over 10 more minutes to cover this. If I have to end the stream soon, I'm sorry, but even sooner than intended. But that would make up very much a majority of the 2 months. When I spend 1 or 2 more weeks, one after the other, to then finally start getting out of my comfort zone, back into the comfort zone of just being good about returning to my. I'd said this in philosophy too, absolute philosophy or not. Popular circles. I said this before when I described being in a environment where I just went deep sea diving. I just said this in the community tab post like not even 10 minutes ago or 20, but of just going for the treasures, the ones I wanted, contrarian or not, going for deep sea treasures that I could prove that were there for some reason, and then still go back to popular circles, either giving what I could confirm I learned or at least believed I did, and then it just went from there. And it's like that's just in general my life story in particular, but it it helps to know that in spite of the things I will disclose later, sooner or later, I have to at some point. I really do. It will have to be said at some point. But how brave I am about that. But that I can't pretend that I don't get what's happening sometimes. The intuition of what seems to be coming across, trusting myself with things that seem like they're happening and they are actually. And that includes again next stream topic, but I never was going to ever take a break like this if I would never give myself the permission to. Okay. If I was going to really consider a break for 2 months off of anything, not even necessarily the internet, or even for myself or friend and friends as part of the title is concerned, YouTube, the stream. But there are plenty of people out there who already just struggle with what they're going through, including my friends and family, which I can disclose a little bit more about that particular, because contrasting the other beautiful things, Johnny Appleseed style again, multitasking extrovert, where they just go through things, people in general, where they just go through things. I said this before, pain and suffering in the midst of even more pain and suffering to come, which sucks even more. They could certainly take breaks. They don't have to push themselves too hard. But even if they take their lives as seriously as they're supposed to, and still learn not to take it as seriously as they don't have to, they would have to get that point by trusting themselves either way, either with more breaks or effort. And that's up to them to decide for their journey. But for me, I knew that I did not realize how much of good and effort I was putting into my life. I never had to know that because I never had to observe it. I keep complaining about the ring eyes under my eyelids, and it's like, what if it's not genetic? It's not. It really isn't. It's just I'm too hard on myself in the first place. They may those purple eye rings may never just spread in my eyes, but it doesn't mean I don't give a shit. Okay, even if in a legitimate sense. But we don't have to not put efforts. We never should be like contrarian. But considering what I have learned in my life for like trying to and having what should have been a proper approach to sense of urgency. Sorry, people who taught me that in particular. You know who you are. But not offensive to you, and that well, it's all good. I trust all of you. I love everyone. But there had to be some way that would budge. And this brings us back full circle to me taking a break for 2 months for my friends and family. So some of the friends in particular, I can disclose maybe one friend and one family, and then we can end the stream. Here's one family member in particular. My youngest brother. He is always being beseeched by some of my family that I should try to visit him because he spends quite a dormitory amount of time in his room. And this has been compared to me before where I did the same thing sort of. Well, I just for his sake, it looks like according to his family, which is again my family, that he's downright depressed. And it's like, okay, I in that conclusion, I cannot only care about that person because I have my own life to live. I assured this to some of you viewers already that this was the case for any of you as well. That I cannot save anyone else's life for them. They have to save themselves. I can only open the door for them, and they have to be the ones stepping through. I can give them the keys even to things that they may not have gotten themselves, possibly. But it's up to them to use those keys all the same. I would never have to use a carrot stick for my own abstract philosophy or just beliefs of how to be a better person otherwise. I don't believe in using carrot on a stick. I don't believe in giving punishments. I don't even believe in being normal in some regards. But these people have to save themselves. I should be doing more with some of these aspects and situations. That's up to me to learn and decide. But we all have mistakes and regrets, don't we? But This person, I felt like, did give me a bit more inspiration for how to live. He was very peculiar about how to actually live life, even with his own beliefs and his own behaviors. It was like someone who I've never personally actually managed to talk to as much, and they still managed to change my life. And it's like I never got to be interact with them as much, but he still changed my life for the better, in even very discreet and subtle ways that implied that, oh, quality over quantity, maybe he may count this into fewer time. Grammar, maybe so, but we got 7 minutes. We can do this. Okay, it's less. And I don't like my point would be is that I don't regret not spending as much time with him even now, because some of that was by design. I keep saying that as I know I'm doing. Partially I do at that point already, if even more. I didn't have to spend enough time with him throughout the last 5 week quarter to make the most of that, whether before or after that fact. But we look into this as if I'm some kind of jackass who cares about only himself, cliche stereotype. Ha ha ha, you didn't do your job even in a different way. You could have at least just talked to him, even if you didn't actually want to be with him. Well, jokes on that too, because if I had not taken the time for myself that I had to fill my own cups, even in lieu of people who could have helped, I could have helped, I would not have done any service. This is exactly what I come across with like the Jason Nova video and the Case Parks video and some of the Flash games and cartoons videos. I don't have that much one-itis for anybody. Like, to put that bluntly. Not even like I say that without too much honesty, but it's still there in vein and soul. I don't even have that much one-itis for myself anymore in the first place, which is kind of ironic and paradoxical too. Like how funny that works, but I couldn't afford to have that much one-itis for anybody, including myself. It couldn't just be like that. But taking time to recover myself, filling my own cups first, and then taking care of other people, as per the airplane strategy, airbags, which is not always true, but it's still true enough to what it deserves to be, as even the tracks maybe. That I cannot afford to not so much waste my time, but only have used my time to take care of someone else, no matter who it is, even if it's me, paradoxically speaking. If it was only going to help them in a legitimate sense, and then not as ever just usually me. I couldn't do that. That would involve the whole journey on this other part of my path where I've been able to get into. I didn't have to do that. I just could take care of myself. We will always have ourselves no matter where we go. And I don't mean that on a personal attacking level. We will always have ourselves wherever you go, there you are. You might as well take care of that person where you are, which is you. No shit. Thank you, monetization, for going away for the last second. But we're going to go into the friend part. There's one person, and I mentioned in the community tab posts. I mentioned him before I ever get to mention her, but I mentioned him. Ride Dobbs. Full stop. Rydon, he's the guy who made those SpongeBob shorts, the ones that went viral on YouTube. But they kept getting limited state and shadow ban for some reason, in some degree or another. Or they did everything to his videos. They put in for made for kids, limited state, shadow ban. They literally made it so that you could they were demonetized. You could only watch them if you found them on search engines, Google and YouTube. And it's like, poor Rydon, dude. I'm so sorry, man. And this gets into what I really feel about Rydon. It's like, I'm not even just saying that in the sake of him being a legitimate person or even a good, competent person, what he does. I don't mean that personally. I don't even mean that to be offensive. Like many of you, including you and you and you and you and you and you, I'm proud of Rydon. Because Rydon actually kind of gets it. It's like, not even kind of really. It's just, he knows so much as far as being a philosopher or a creative or someone who does stop motion animation, that I do care about what I'm doing. And it is so hard for anybody to be like this. Everyone has a journey. But for Rydon to have praised me in the way he did on Discord and on YouTubers or wherever else, that kind of praise where I'm just like, okay, he has boundaries he has to maintain. So do I. We have to be careful what we do even now. We have to. It's part of life. It just sucks, but it's part of life. But it's all still good, right? The fact that we even get this far in this beautiful, unpredictable way has been a blessing for sure. And that was Rydon alone. The kind of person who could deal with me assure me that being deep and insightful was meaningful to him, and still that I could do better to improve my life while still being myself. That was right on, and that was my male family members in those examples. I didn't ghost for 2 months or more or less from family and friends to avoid my problems. I did it in spite of my problems. I did it, if even as a lame excuse of itself, to face what I think would have been better for me to just deal with, accepting my shadow, thanking Auntie Karen, attending college 333 for adapting that one, even in lieu from Richard Lop and some other people. I still love the Death Peace Stealer. I really do, but like other ones. How this comes about, where I just I know I don't have that word end card, but it's good. For a minute and a half. This has been nice. Very peaceful. You think it's only relaxing to just do that stuff? That got me out of my comfort zone tenfold. I was like, no way am I gonna ditch my friends indefinitely, if not forever. Or even if I had to be isolated for like Sigma male, whatever the fuck you call that. Thanks again for leaving again molestation or such in my subtitles. Whatever else that means. Monetizing my veal without my version. Different. TOS, whatever. Last minute. I got stressed out starting the stream. I had to put a few things on post. I had to bring my next set of pot stickers and name sticks in the room that were almost completely done. I still got pissed off about that. I'm not perfect. I get lost on Friday all around the city of Houston. I get a productive work weekend on the other week ago where everyone's depending on me to lower the rate of our job. Can't disclose that too much, I guess. I have good days, I have bad days. So does everyone else. I don't ghost to hide from my problems. I ghost to remember what's transparent. We are indeed very, very close to ourselves. We don't realize who we are. We are on lights. But in order to do that, you have to embrace your shadow. You have to accept it and even shine light on it. The more you do that in particular, the more you're going to be the kind of person who can face their own problems and light their own way, in spite of what they do understand.